They thought they were just watching some random horror movie to kill time in a cheap motel, but then they noticed one chilling detail. The room on the screen looked exactly like the one they were sitting in. This wasn't a movie. It was footage of the previous guests. The movie opens with a married couple driving late at night down a dark, deserted road, heading home from a family party. David is behind the wheel, while his wife Amy is asleep beside him. Suddenly, a raccoon darts out into the road. David swerves sharply to avoid it, jolting Amy awake. She's immediately annoyed, pointing out that they're clearly not where they're supposed to be. David explains. They had to detour off the highway because of an accident and road closure. But right from the start, it's obvious their marriage is falling apart. The two are constantly irritated with each other, bickering non-stop. During one of their arguments, Amy pulls out an apple and starts cutting it with a knife, but accidentally slices her finger, leaving blood on the fruit. They brush it off, but a minute later, David hears a strange noise from the engine, likely from that sharp swerve. They hope the car holds out, but just as the engine is about to give up, they spot a sketchy gas station. Out of nowhere, the attendant appears at the car window, scaring the hell out of both of them. David tells him they're headed to Downey, but the guy delivers bad news. They went the wrong way, and Downey is now 30 miles behind them. He offers to fix the car. While the men tinker with the engine, Amy pulls out a photo of a little boy and starts crying, the first hint that the death of their son has shattered their marriage. The attendant fixes the car, refuses payment, gives them directions, and even hands Amy a sparkler as a weird little gift. They're back on the road, but the relief doesn't last long. Soon the car breaks down for good in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. No choice left. They grab a flashlight and start walking back to the gas station about a mile away, arguing the whole time. David mentions their dead son's name, and Amy begs him not to bring up the past. When they finally reach the station, no one's around. They head into the attached motel and immediately hear a woman screaming in agony. Amy freaks out, but David rings the bell at the front desk anyway. The motel manager comes out. When asked about the screams, he casually goes into the back room, turns something off, and comes back with a remote, saying he was just watching a movie. The couple asks about a mechanic, but the manager shrugs. No one works at night, and suggests they stay over. Amy is instantly suspicious, but exhausted. David agrees. The manager gives them the honeymoon suite at the regular rate. As soon as they leave, he goes back to the room, and the woman's screams start up again. Inside their room, it's a total dump. Dust, grime, a cockroach crawling across the floor, rusty water from the faucet. They try to settle in and talk about how they're on the verge of divorce, but still hiding it from family. Suddenly the phone rings, silence on the other end. Then someone pounds on the door. David opens it, no one there. The phone rings again, then banging on the connecting door between rooms. When David knocks back and asks what they want, Amy panics and locks it. When the pounding starts at the main door, an enraged David storms off to complain to the manager. The guy acts surprised, says they're the only guests, grabs a shotgun off the wall, and promises to check. Sometimes kids break in for fun. David returns to the room, where Amy wants to walk back to the car, but he's too tired. He turns on the TV and pops in a VHS tape sitting on top. Grainy footage starts playing, people being tortured and killed in some room. At first, David thinks it's just a horror movie, but then he notices details. The curtains, the carpet, it's exactly like their room. Amy sees it too, and the horrifying truth hits them. These snuff films were shot right here, in this very room. David frantically searches and finds hidden cameras, including one in the vent. Suddenly, the lights go out and start flickering. Doors are pounded on, and a masked figure flashes behind them. When the lights come back, they try to escape through the bathroom window, but it's nailed shut. And on the sink lies Amy's bloody apple, even though she swears she left it in the car. They decide to make a run for the woods across the parking lot, but two masked figures corner them and herd them back into the room. As the attackers try to break in, Amy desperately pulls nails from the window while one of them appears in the bathroom. David bluffs, yelling that he has a gun, buying a few precious seconds. He whispers a plan to Amy. He'll run to the payphone by the office while she distracts them. Amy pretends to break the window as David reaches the phone and dials 911, only to hear the motel manager's voice on the line. A car pulls up immediately, and the manager chases David back to the room. Now their only weapons are shards from the shattered bathroom mirror. The manager watches them through yet another hidden camera. Later, Amy wakes up and scolds David for letting her fall asleep. He whispers that they're being listened to and filmed, so they should let the killers think they've given up. While she slept, David rewatched the tapes and figured out the pattern. These guys enjoy the victim's fear until it bores them, and they always enter through the bathroom. He finds a trap door in the floor there. Suddenly, a truck pulls up. The couple bangs on the window, desperately trying to get the driver's attention, but he's part of the gang. He's here to buy a torture tape. As the attackers pound on the door again, David and Amy drop into the trapdoor and crawl through an underground tunnel filled with rats. At the end of the tunnel is another hatch leading to the control room, packed with monitors showing old torture recordings. Amy calls 911 on a real phone, but the manager and his goons walk in, see the call connecting, and send men into the tunnel after them. David and Amy escape through another exit into the gas station garage, where they topple a heavy shelf onto the hatch, blocking it. Amy breaks down, blaming herself for their son's death, but David comforts her. It was an accident, not her fault. After everything, he admits he doesn't want to lose her and wants to start over. Just then, a police cruiser pulls up. They're terrified to reveal themselves as the manager greets the sheriff, who says he's responding to a 911 call. The manager calmly lets him look around. Meanwhile, in the garage, one attacker tries to lift the shelf while the couple holds it down from above. The sheriff enters the room, notices light from a door, discovers the tape room, and realizes something horrific is going on. He steps out with gun drawn. The couple runs out screaming for help, but the sheriff's car won't start. His radio is dead, and as he checks under the hood, one of the killers stabs him from behind. Panicking, the couple runs back into the motel and slips into another room through the connecting door. David breaks a window but can't fit through. While the killers hide the police car, he hangs Amy's clothing on the window to fake an escape and hides her in the ceiling crawl space. David heads to the lobby for the shotgun, but a killer stabs him in the stomach right away. Amy forces herself to stay silent as she watches David crawl outside while the manager films him. The manager searches the room for Amy but misses her. She stays hidden in the ceiling until dawn. At sunrise, she climbs down, spots one of the attackers, and runs to a car, starting it to escape. One killer smashes through the sunroof. In panic, Amy runs over another attacker and crashes into the motel wall, killing both. And one turns out to be the friendly gas station attendant who helped them earlier. But the manager is still alive. Amy runs to the control room, blocks the hatch with a shelf, grabs a hammer, then picks up a pistol in the lobby. The manager ambushes her from behind and starts strangling her. They fight on the floor. He gains the upper hand, drags her to the couch, starts filming, and snarls that he should have killed her yesterday. Amy knees him in the groin. The fight continues, and she finally reaches the gun and shoots him multiple times. The manager collapses, dead. With her last strength, Amy runs to David, and he's still alive. She calls 911, begging for help to come quickly. The film ends with Amy sitting beside her wounded husband. They both survived, and they decide to call off the divorce. Thanks for watching.